drive deep into the Tennessee woods, the late afternoon sun bleeding orange through the branches. Their laughter fills the cramped cabin as the wind outside begins to howl. But beneath the floorboards, something ancient stirs, something bound in human skin and inked in blood. When the first tape begins to play, its voice is cold and deliberate, speaking words no living tongue should ever form. In that moment, the trees seem to lean closer, the shadows lengthen, and the cabin becomes a prison from which none will escape untouched.
Before we begin, a quick warning. Opening Kill is a horror podcast that contains adult language, disturbing themes, and graphic descriptions of violent acts, especially the kills featured in each film. We also dive deep into plot details and character arcs. So if you haven't seen the movie we're covering, expect full spoilers ahead. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
Opening Kill, the horror podcast that slices deep into the genre we love. We're talking slashers, supernatural nightmares, creature features, and everything in between. Every episode, we break down a different horror film, from its killer cold open to its blood-soaked finale. We track the body count, analyze the scares, and give credit where it's gruesomely due. From iconic franchises to hidden gems, you'll find them all here. Hosted by filmmaker and horror scholar Brian O'Connor and Michael Duran, lifelong genre fan and scream scene specialist. So sharpen your knives, turn off the lights, and let's get into it. This is Opening Kill.
And welcome to episode 36, The Evil Dead of Opening Kill. I'm Brian O'Connor, and you are not Michael Duran.
I'm not. I am the other Michael Duran, Shay Astor.
Researcher Shay joining us. Michael under the weather this week, so get better soon, Michael. We have a lot of episodes to go in season 2. So welcome to the Evil Dead episode. I want to thank all of our new listeners and remind everybody that we have a video version of this podcast on YouTube and Spotify, so you can actually watch us run through all of these movies as well. So always fun to do, right, Shay?
Yes, I'm very excited about being on camera. Yeah, definitely. You can tell.
Yeah, that's convincing. That's convincing. So I went and saw The Strangers Chapter 2. Oh, I really wanted to like this movie so much, and I just couldn't get into it. There were some very silly things that happened into it that kind of took me out of the movie. I will go see Chapter 3 because I'm a fan of the franchise, even though this, I think, was definitely the weaker of the first two. But in theaters, Strangers Chapter 2, let's do better with Chapter 3, please. Please, please, please.
Isn't that just the hardest? Like, we want to support, but also, like, you got to make it good.
You do. That's what I think, too. But anyway, have you seen anything great recently?
Well, over the break, I actually focused more on reading. Went back and did all of our favorite Stephen Kings.
There you
go. And
go.
then I did, of course, watch The Conjuring Last Rites. I know you guys talked about it last time. But, wasn't super happy with it. Still was sad that it's over. They keep saying this is going to be the last one. We'll see how that works. I think they're talking about maybe a TV show, though, or a spinoff, maybe when they're younger, the Warrens.
Right.
We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, actually, I've spent more of my time recently rewatching the entire Evil Dead franchise. I started with, of course, this lovely one, and then 2, and then Army of Darkness is still one of my favorites. Oh,
so you
big fan.
binge watched these?
Oh yeah. And then I even really liked the remake, the whatever you want to call it, the reboot. And then Evil Dead Rise is still not one of my favorites, but I still think it was true to the concept, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to dive right into this. It is The Evil Dead, and just the facts, written and directed by Sam Raimi in his debut, starring Bruce Campbell in his debut, and they were just kids. It's funny to watch Bruce Campbell in this movie. He's just a kid. Ellen Sandweiss is in this, Betsy Baker, Teresa Tilley, Richard DeManicore, who actually went by a different name at the time. He uses different names for his credits. It was originally released for a private screening for friends and family at the Redford Theater in Detroit, October 15th, 1981. And then horror author Stephen King gave it just a glowing review. And New Line Cinema, hearing Mr. King speak so highly about it, acquired the distribution rights and gave it a wide theatrical release on April 15th, 1983. Runtime 85 minutes. They made this movie on the cheap, $350,000, which in today's world would be closer to 1.2 million, which is still cheap to make a movie. So it made $2.7 million just at the box office, and then tens of millions more with the massive home video success that it experienced. And its tagline, the most terrifying film you will ever experience. So a lot of makeup stuff going on in this film, Shay, that I know we're going to stop and talk about, and effects and all of this other stuff here. Essentially, if you've not seen the movie, in a nutshell, it's about 5 friends, Ash, Cheryl, Linda, Shelley, and Scotty. They drive through rural Tennessee, going up into the mountains where they're going to stay at this remote cabin, and all kinds of funky things happen. And it's funny because they start out and they're going along this road to get there. And the first thing, they almost hit this pickup truck head on. And then they cross this rickety bridge, which looks like it's going to collapse. In fact, the front wheel of the car goes through the bridge, but yet they still manage to get over it and get to the other side.
This time, yeah. What about next time, though?
Not as lucky next time. So they roll up onto this dilapidated old cabin, and they send Scotty up to the front door, and there's this porch swing that is just kind of banging against the side of the house. And so Scotty's looking at that, and then he reaches up above the door, and that's where the spare key is hidden. Real great place to hide your spare key. And as soon as he touches the key, the porch swing just stops. That's it.
Eerie, spooky.
Already we are spooky. So the rest of them are unloading the car, and they go up to the front door. They go in and they start exploring. And this is not a cabin that I think I would stay in.
No, I'd probably see it and go, thanks, but no thanks. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. So they settle into the cabin and they notice strange occurrences, and Cheryl actually starts hearing noises and voices and senses that something is wrong. And they're actually sitting around the dinner table, and she obviously has complained to them about hearing things. Doesn't show her doing that, but it cuts to later that night when they're sitting around the dinner table, and Scotty is making fun of her and mumbling things, like an unheard voice or something, mimicking what she supposedly heard that he does not believe she actually heard. And they are sitting around, and Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, gets up and wants to make a toast. Yep. And that's when the trap door in the living room flies open. And
it's so funny. This is so similar to that other movie we talked about last season. Cabin in the Woods, perhaps?
Cabin in the Woods. I know. I mean, you have to wonder how many of these cabin in the wood movies, including the one that's named that, took their inspiration from, The Evil Dead. I would say probably a lot of them did.
A lot. Yes. Yeah. But I do love this part. They go to the trap door. the cellar door.
Mhm.
And they send Scotty down first, and he just goes quiet. Doesn't
Yeah.
say a word. They're all looking, going, "Are you down there? Is everything okay?" And he just says nothing. It's not that big of a space, mind you.
No.
So it's kind of weird that he's not responding. So then Ash grabs the lantern, goes down, and they just find some very interesting things down there, don't they?
They do, and what's interesting is this cellar is way bigger than the cabin itself. At least if you look at the exterior of the cabin, because that's all we can really base this off of so far. But this cellar just goes on. It's like it's room after room after room down there. And Scotty actually, before he went down there, was telling Cheryl, "You go down and investigate." And she looks at him. And I got to say, in this moment, it's the only moment that she is this way. She's actually smart. And she just wants to leave the cellar alone and close it up. And that's that. She doesn't want to actually go down and mess with anything down there because it's clear to them that there is something down there or someone.
They do
But
think it's an animal at first, and it's kind of
mhm,
like, what animal would do that? Let's not find out, is the answer. Just close it
that's
up and be
totally
done with
correct.
it.
So they find all kinds of things. They find a tape recorder, which contains an archaeologist's account of summoning demons using the Book of the Dead. And soon as they start playing this tape back, then there's a thunderstorm that starts. All the typical horror movie stuff begins. It cuts out to the woods. There's noises and sounds and everything else as these incantations they're listening to trigger these supernatural forces that are all in this forest. And there's also something watching them through all the windows as well.
Always creepy when that happens. But they
Yeah.
do find the dreaded book, the
Hmm.
Necronomicon, down in the cellar, and they're
Right.
looking through it, and it's got a bunch of very interesting depictions,
Hmm.
mostly drawings, it seems like, and
Right.
a language we can't understand. So when they're listening to the tape recording of the archaeologist, he's even explaining stuff like, "Yeah, this book, it's definitely the Book of the Dead,
Yep.
made out of skin," and they're
Yep.
touching it like it's no big
Oh,
deal.
I know.
That wouldn't
Th-
be me.
There's a couple of things in this film. We'll get to some continuity stuff here too that doesn't match up, but yeah, I wouldn't be touching that if that was actually made of human skin, like they said, but that's just me,
Fun
right?
fact, it was made out of, liquid latex on, like, the outside wrapping,
Okay.
um, and it was very interesting. Once again, we'll get into more of the continuity stuff, but the thing with liquid latex is it doesn't like heat, and it doesn't like really cold, and they
Right.
had both of these things on set.
Oh, I
It was
know.
freezing temperatures outside. One of the coldest Tennessee winters ever. They thought they were like, "Oh, it's instead of filming in Michigan where all of these guys were from,
Right.
we're gonna go down to Tennessee. It'll be better." No, it wasn't.
Not
So it was
really.
freezing. And then they also had heat lamps, the fireplace going because everything was freezing over the equipment, the makeup. But so the Necronomicon actually like changes throughout each scene because it keeps like shrinking and then melting a little bit. So the page just kind of moves, which honestly I think is very cool. Um like nowadays, I think a lot of people would have criticized it at the time for it changing shape, but it's actually pretty fun to watch. It just kind of like starts sagging and drooping a little bit, and then you could see it like shrunk at one point.
Oh my gosh.
Very
Yeah.
interesting stuff.
Wow. Well, yeah. It's I mean, if you only have $350,000 to make this movie, as far as locations, you're going to take what you can get on the cheap, and that's where they're at in this. So Ash and his girlfriend Linda, they have a little romantic moment. It's kind of a cheesy little scene here where, they're sitting on the couch and she decides she needs to go check on Cheryl and because she's totally freaked out. So as soon as she gets up, Ash brings out this little box, has a little necklace. Oh, it's like a little magnifying glass on the end of this.
Tiny little
Yeah, tiny little one. And he's going to surprise her with it. And so she comes back down the hallway back into their room and he pretends like he's asleep, but he's got this little box sitting on his leg. And this was kind of weird. All of a sudden, it's this back and forth between him opening his eyes and looking at her And as soon as she looks back down at him, he closes his eyes to pretend like he's asleep. And this goes on way too long.
Way
Let me
too
just
long.
say, it happens like, I don't know how many times it goes back and forth, but it's like, come on already. This is cheesy. I mean, the film is kind of cheesy in itself, but this scene particularly. And finally, you know, she catches him and he gives her the little necklace and all that. And yeah, that's that. So then it
For
cuts
some
to
reason, this necklace is very important throughout the movie, and I still rewatching it again could still go, I don't get it. Like it's a little magnifying glasses for what, reading fine print? Is that something Linda does?
they
I don't.
focused on it a lot. I mean, even they would do like these shots of it in, you know, just a shot of that necklace on the ground or whatever. But there's really nothing that comes into play in the movie with this necklace. That's
It makes
just
you
what
think
it is.
something was cut out.
It
Like
does
they
make you
had
think
something
something.
else.
Yeah, definitely. So in the meantime, Cheryl now loses all of her smarts and decides, after hearing more noises, she's going to go outside. And what's next is a scene that is pretty heavily responsible for this movie getting banned in a handful of countries for its gore, its, you know, whatever, its mature theme, if you want to call it, because this is a pretty brutal scene to see. And this is 1981 when this comes out. So she goes out, she leaves the porch. Don't leave the porch, first of all. Don't go out, first of all. So she goes into the woods and she's now assaulted by these vines, these small tree branches and vines. They grab her and they pull her to the ground, and she's sexually assaulted by these vines. They end up letting her go, and she runs back to the cabin. Now, here's one of my problems. She is screaming at the top of her lungs, banging on the cabin door. There are 4 people inside this small cabin, and it takes
I
them
know.
forever to get to the door to let her in. In fact, you're seeing something coming towards the cabin. You know, it's from the camera's point of view, chasing her, and she's screaming and screaming, and then she's reaches up there, and the key is magically returned to above the door, and she can't get it down. It's on a hook, and she's beating the door, and just as something's about to get her, Ash opens the door, and she tumbles in, and they can tell that something has happened, and she insists that they need to leave and get out of there, and the other people, especially Scotty, thinks she's crazy and wants no part of it.
I mean, I get it. They traveled a long way to get there, but if I had one of my friends get injured, I'd be like, let's go. We're out. We're done. But these guys, they're a little selfish, I think. They want to have the cabin. They paid for it. They're, you know, probably not super rich college kids.
Right.
So I understand that a little bit. But yeah, she comes in screaming, saying, we need to go. And she forces Ash to go out with her. They get to the car. The car won't start. Finally, it does start.
Right.
They
It
drive
starts
down.
right after she says, it's not going to let us leave. And then it starts. And he just looks at her like, you crazy.
See, I'll show you. Yeah, that kind of thing. But anyway, yeah. So they make it a little bit down the road, if you can even call it a road. It's it's the woods, all right?
Yeah.
But they make it to the bridge, and surprise, surprise, the bridge is torn to pieces and is no longer standing.
It's like
That
Godzilla
sucks for
came through
you.
there and just totally turned it upside down. I mean, it's, yeah.
Something bent the metal. Something's wrong there. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely, it's definitely been intentionally destroyed by some great power. Ash, gets out of the car and leaves her there, and he just kind of disappears into the foggy woods heading to the bridge. And then again, she gets out of the car and follows him, and she reaches the bridge, sees it's destroyed and no way to cross. And then Ash comes back and scares the crap out of her. And that's when she says, it's never going to let us leave. So
I swear, it's like as soon as you walk away, you go deaf or something, or the fog is so dense we know that cabin isn't well insulated. So, like,
Right.
why can nobody hear each other? This is a
Well,
problem that continues.
I totally agree. I mean, come on, you guys. So they end up back at the cabin, and Ash is now listening to more of this tape that they found in the cellar. He's got headphones on, and he learns that, to kill this entity, you have to dismember a possessed host. And the other two girls are sitting there playing spades. And this is kind of funny. Cheryl is at the window looking out, and all of a sudden, she's naming the cards that are being flipped up on the table, even though she can't see them. And her voice has changed, and it now becomes clear something has gone terribly wrong with Cheryl. And she starts to float, levitate in the air, and she's got these gnarly white eyes. And of course, the voice is like a demon's voice.
I think something's wrong with Cheryl. Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
She starts going at him, like, real quick, too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would be so freaked out. Oh, my God.
Well, and she asks why they've disturbed her sleep. And then, it's like, uh-oh, we did something bad. Yeah, she lays down. She's kind of playing dead, and then she wakes up, and she's got a pencil in her hand. She stabs Linda in the ankle with it. And, she just kind of goes crazy.
I think my favorite part is, of this scene at least, she's going towards Ash with the pencil. I mean, we know you can do damage with pencil. She already proved it right through the ankle, man. Oh, but she's walking towards him. He's stuck under a bookshelf that he comically fell into at one point during the scuffle. And then Scotty comes over, knocks her down, and then, like, very fake stunt, like, kicks her into the open cellar door.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, through that trap door. And then he has to chain it shut to keep her from getting out, because it's not tight to the floor. So it's, she can lift it up a little bit before the chains restrain it. So you can still see the top of her head and her eyes looking out into the living room and her hands and all this. By the way,
what a great shot, though.
Oh, it's a great shot. These evil possessed beings are called deadites. So that's how they are referred to. But it's pretty crazy. And she's trying to get out and all this good stuff. Shelley is the next to become possessed in the movie. And again, this leads to another violent struggle and her eventual demise. And so it's Scotty that is like taking a knife or something to her wrist, and she ends up like eating it the rest of the way off, and it drops, and it's holding that is it the Sumerian sword or Sumerian knife or whatever it is, that knife?
It's the dagger that they found down in the cellar along with the book and the tape recorder. Yeah.
Right.
And it's a gnarly looking thing. Everything was sculpted, makeup and the objects were done by a great guy, Tom Sullivan. Oh man, I love his work here. But they made everything like, with, the sewing needle you got back at home in a drawer, and liquid latex, which is, wasn't really high quality stuff back then.
Right.
But at the same time, man, all of us DIY people, we learned how to use it based off things like this. This was like, I dressed up as one of the Deadites once for Halloween.
Oh, nice.
Because it's just so much fun. Yeah, if I have a picture, I'll send it to you. But
that's awesome.
It's incredible what they did with such a little budget. But so this random dagger that they brought up from the cellar doesn't seem to like help at all. Like, it doesn't technically kill the bad guys, but it seemed like that's maybe where they thought it was going, was, if I stab them with it, it'll solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't. In fact, the hand actually jumps up and stabs her in the back. Is that, and then
he kind of helps, but yeah.
And then Scotty comes in with an axe and basically dismembers her. And what's funny about this scene, there are a lot of funny moments. Possessed Cheryl is still obviously in the cellar, but she's watching this whole thing through the opening in the door, in that trap door. And so they get all the body parts, and they go to bury them. And so the kills in this, we were talking before we started the podcast, they're kind of interesting and kind of not sure how to classify them. So we're just going to go with as soon as the person gets possessed and killed off, because spoiler alert, these beings will reanimate and come back, but we will consider this one the opening kill.
The opening kill.
Scotty, in the meantime, is now trying to escape, and he decides he's going to go running through the woods. Haven't we seen before that this doesn't exactly work in these particular woods? I don't know.
Yeah, well, he has to learn the lesson himself, I guess.
I guess so. And then Linda, Ash's girlfriend, is the next one to get possessed. This is creepy. This is super creepy because she's just sitting on the floor when Ash walks by, and there is this horrifying, just nasty giggle. That's, oh yeah, and that smile, and she's just giggling this whole time. And yeah, so Ash now gets into a big confrontation with Linda, and he ends up dragging Linda outside the cabin and slamming the door. Like, that's going to keep her away.
Yeah, if you notice, a lot of the windows in this cabin are not very secure. They've broken through them very easily in the past.
Absolutely.
Some of them are just missing, and they have those awful shutters which you can't really lock.
Right.
So this place is not secure, and probably on purpose. I'm surprised there was even chains around the cellar door.
Oh, I know.
That seemed like it came out of nowhere, but glad they were there for a little bit at least. And of course, yeah, that doesn't last very long. All of a sudden, Scotty does reappear, though.
Mm-hmm.
Very scraped up and injured. We didn't really get to see what happened to him, but we can kind of inference from our last experience out in the woods that things have not gone well out there.
Right.
But he comes back in, so he's not quite alone anymore. However, Scotty quickly is succumbing to his wounds.
Yeah.
And does go very quiet on the couch. So
and
once again, Ash is alone.
He is alone, and Scotty would be kill number 2 until he comes back as a deadite and does his thing, as they all do. So, yeah, I mean, as the night goes on, Ash is dealing with all of his friends that are now possessed. Linda ends up stabbing him in the arm with that dagger, that sword. And he ends up managing to stab her in the back, I think. Doesn't she fall on it or something? And
she falls on it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop her.
No, it doesn't. We will consider that kill number 3. And then he ends up dragging her to this shed, and in Texas Chainsaw Massacre style, he fires up the chainsaw and he's going to dismember her with that. And then he sees the necklace that he gave her. It's around her neck, and he starts to have feelings, which will get you every time in a horror movie. So
don't have feelings.
Don't have feelings. Yeah. You gotta just keep your head on straight here. So he kills the chainsaw, turns it off, and decides he's just going to bury her body instead. And this is kind of a funny scene here.
All of this is funny in a sense.
In a sense, well, it's Bruce Campbell funny. I mean, that's the whole thing with these movies. So
exactly. This one was supposed to be more serious, like actual full-on horror movie, but they learned that wasn't exactly the route they wanted to go later on. So it did turn more slapstick into the next one, but this one wasn't meant to be this funny. It's funny to us now because we're all part of, the cult classic. We love it so much. And Bruce is such a great actor in this.
Oh
my gosh.
He really is. I actually have met him a couple of times. He lives here in Southern Oregon, and always been nice to me. I auditioned for his movie, My Name is Bruce, way back. Actually ended up with a part, and then they kept changing my call time. And so by the time they got the right date, I couldn't do it. I was doing a show at a theater and couldn't get out of it. And it was like, oh man, Seriously.
Missed opportunity,
And there was
man.
dialogue with him in the movie, and My Name is Bruce. So it wasn't a big part, but it was a featured part. And I remember the audition, he didn't give me any sides or anything else, and it was him, and he said, "Make me laugh. Let's just talk." And so we improv'd this scene, and I made him laugh. So I've got that, my claim to fame. I
My
made Bruce
God.
Campbell laugh in an audition, even though I didn't get to be in the movie, but I got the part.
That's
Damn it.
actually really huge. We should put that like as your profile, your summary of
Yeah,
I made Bruce Campbell laugh once.
I made Bruce Campbell laugh. So yeah, and I've seen him around town a couple of times. Not that he would ever remember me in a million years, because he wouldn't, and he would have no reason
You never
to.
know.
Oh no,
Bruce will be chatting.
Yeah. So anyway, Bruce Campbell's Ash starts to dig the grave for his dead girlfriend, and he's got it pretty much in place. And Ash looks at her, but what he's seeing is the normal looking Linda. He's not seeing the deadite zombie looking, Linda.
That would be
So
really hard to like, oh, maybe she's fixed. Maybe I
right,
did something.
right,
And so of course you don't want to bury her, but
yeah,
also they are known to do tricks. They did it earlier of her like Cheryl's regular voice.
mm-hmm.
She's like, "Let me out of the cellar."
Yeah,
And they didn't fall for it then. However, Ash now by himself he's gonna fall for it, you guys.
yeah,
Sorry.
totally. So he picks her up and gently lays her in the grave, and he shovels dirt on her, and then she comes back to life, and it's, you see her hand come out of the grave, and then she gets the rest of the way out. And let me say, first of all, she's been buried, just the body, no coffin, anything like that, dirt piled on her. She comes out looking like she just got out of the shower. She is not dirty at all. So,
It's
and
magic, all right?
she's very much so. So he tags her with a board, starts, knocking her around with that. And and he's on the ground. She knocks him down. She goes to jump on him, and he grabs the shovel that he had just been using. A great timing on his part, because he decapitates her on the way down.
Yeah.
So the headless body lands on top of him, and the blood just squirts out of the neck area all over his face, right? However, when he stands up, it's like he just got out of the shower. He's got nothing on him. Nothing.
I mean, we know that they did a lot of reshoots. Unfortunately, if they forgot to dump the blood on him, I think. But
there's a lot of continuity stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
The blood in this movie is incredible. Oh my God. They made it mostly food safe because it was going in people's mouths a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But what that does is it makes everything stickier. Once you have it on, you can't take it off, sort of thing. It literally froze to their clothes, because when you're using food safe and not chemical based like fake blood, it will freeze. And because it was so darn cold out, it literally made the shirts and everything stick straight because of it.
Right.
But the problem is, sometimes there's blood and sometimes there isn't. I'm surprised they didn't all go home dyed red. And I'm sure they probably did a few days, but
Right. Well, I mean, there's scenes too. There's a scene coming up towards the very end, where Ash is lying on the cabin's wooden floor and he's in a pool of blood. And I'm just thinking, man, the mess that he had to clean up after they got that scene. I mean, and it's almost like you feel the pressure to do that scene in one take, because it's going to take forever to clean it all up and then reset everything to do it again. So you really, without a budget, you really have to just stay on top of things and get the scene done, get the movie done. So yeah,
I think Sam Raimi, that was an issue in a sense, because they filmed for such long hours. Everyone was exhausted, tired, but it was because you had to do so much prep work to make sure that one shot, we can't redo it tonight. Maybe we could redo it tomorrow, but that's a big if. So might as well get it done right. And he did, honestly. Especially the next scene coming up where bugs are involved. Ew. Not a fan.
No, not a fan of bugs either, especially like this. So he makes his way back to the cabin, and now he discovers Cheryl has gotten out of the cellar. So he knows that he has to destroy the Book of the Dead. He has to burn this book to clean everything up. He goes down into the cellar. Now, just not sure this would be the place I would go. There's a lot of weird things that go on. There's blood that comes pouring out of a water pipe, starts coming out through electrical outlets. There's a movie projector, one of those old ones that starts playing, as does a turntable. And then the projector explodes, a light bulb explodes. All kinds of weird things are now happening in this house.
Yeah, he's going crazy and is truly by himself now because girlfriend's dead, friends he thinks are dead, Cheryl's now, like his sister is the one attacking him now. That must be really hard on you mentally. So he going crazy.
So he goes back upstairs and the window shutters are now banging again. That swing out on the porch is going. He reaches into a mirror and it's water-like. He pulls his hand out like he's in pain. And this is where he starts getting attacked by the reanimated corpses of his zombie friends. So, yeah.
Cheryl pops out, Scotty pops up.
Oh, yeah.
And they all have the amazing, iconic deadite look, which is the full sclera white eye contacts. They were made out of glass, which were so freaking painful.
I bet.
That they could only wear them for like 15 minutes max. So that's another, now we have to wait on that because your eyes are burning underneath things on your eyeballs. We talked about that in Lost Boys too.
Right.
They later very quickly made plastic contact lenses, ones regular people put in their eyeballs, which are not fun anyway in the first place. I do not mess with sclera because it covers the entire eyeball, not just your pupil area. So these guys are wearing the makeup 15 minutes max, having to change, having to get makeup out from under their eyes, redo the makeup. So even the actors were re-putting on their own prosthetics during this whole time. And actually, Bruce and Sam were both like back there putting on the glue and putting on the prosthetics on other people because they were so short-handed. This is a heavy makeup movie, but it did not have a big team for this first one.
No, not at all.
It's so incredible. I'm a fan.
I was going to ask you about the makeup in this and the special effects makeup and your thoughts on that, because like you said, this was a huge makeup show.
It was, yeah. And it's all, once again, done budget-like, but makeup is still expensive. So they reused things, but they did a form of like a cast on the main actors, but honestly, it was just kind of last minute, probably being made in the cabin. The crew stayed in the cabin during the shoot. There was no electricity there. They had to hook it up themselves. There was no heating, so they built the fireplace that's in there and used that. They had space heaters plugged in. They short-circuited a lot of things all the time because everyone's just so cold and working off the floor and trying to just make this movie. And we've been there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I appreciate this movie because we've done projects like this where it's hard. Everything seems to go wrong behind the scenes, but it looks so good, honestly.
It does.
I watch it back now and it's like the prosthetics are cracking in certain areas, but it worked because she was supposed to look like a doll. Like the porcelain face and it's cracking. It looked cool. People now replicate that on purpose because of things like this movie. I don't know if it came first. However, this is the one everyone cites as being like the inspiration, the go-to for very down in the dirt kind of they were rolling around in real dirt. No fake dirt is on this set.
No, not at all.
The blood, like I said, was made out of human foods. They put in coffee creamer to give it texture, but also make it edible. They had milk, which went bad and made people sick because they had it out. The place must have smelled rotten.
Oh, yeah.
They used things like to make everyone look sweaty, and they used some sort of older, I don't remember what it's called now, but it's like a a thing that's made for cameras. They put it on people's faces, and it's not meant to do that. So it was unsafe, but fun. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I love about it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it definitely worked.
Yeah.
Definitely worked.
We finally get to Scotty is attacking him, Cheryl is attacking Ash, and we're just wondering what can he do at this point. But he does realize he's got to destroy the book,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we left off.
And that's what happens. So they're dragging him across the floor. And now here's where the necklace does come into play. He's got his girlfriend's necklace, and he like stretches out and latches onto the book, and he's dragging it with him, and he finally gets the book, and then he shot puts it into the fireplace, and immediately the two deadites who are attacking him just freeze, and then all kinds of weird things start happening to them. There's giant hands that come out of their bodies, and as they're dying off, and they're just it's almost like it looks kind of like stop motion. I'm not sure how they did this. Is that what it was?
They did. Yeah, so
Okay.
they made miniatures of things and melted them. And at the same time, stop motion did a few reverse shots too of things unmelting and melting on top of each other.
Okay.
Had a lot of, for some reason, they had a lot of oatmeal on set. So oatmeal starts coming out of their bodies along with a different colored goo now that we haven't seen before. So it was a little like, I think more for shock value.
Yeah.
And it is shocking. That scene you're sitting there just kind of watching it going, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it works though, because they do thankfully disintegrate in front of him.
Yeah, they do.
Bugs
They
come
do.
out.
Ugh.
Don't know why bugs are there. Don't know why hands come out, but it's creepy and it works.
Yeah.
So
The bugs just got me. Anything with bugs like this, I just no, thank you. No, thank you. So we cut to the next morning, and this is that scene where Bruce Campbell's character is on the ground on the floor, and he's in this pool of blood. I'm just thinking, oh man, what a mess. That was my first
what
thought.
a mess.
What a mess. So he wakes up and he thinks everything is over, and he goes out the front door. In the meantime, camera point of view, evil comes rushing through the back of the cabin and then out the front door, and he can feel something coming. He turns around and you just see this panicked expression on his face, and cut to black, and then the credits roll, and that is the end of The Evil Dead. So,
Woo!
yeah, it ends. And we just don't know how it ends, really. We don't know what happens. So
It leaves it up to interpretation until you watch the second one.
right.
Which kind of redoes this story, mostly I guess because of licensing issues.
Right.
But Sam Raimi wanted to make a sequel, but then couldn't use it, so he had to redo it as if the friends weren't there. It was just him and Linda, and that's it. But we do continue on the story kind of from that part, and we get more of the iconic things. I think when people think of Evil Dead, we know the chainsaw, we know the boomstick, we get the funnier lines. It's more of a horror comedy, whereas this one was it was meant to be scary, and it did scare a lot of people, especially, the tree scene is a big one.
Yeah.
And even Sam says in interviews later, he's like, yeah, that was a little too much. I kind of regret putting that in.
Yeah. I think there were 3 or 4 countries that banned that film, for that scene and just the overall goriness. Now,
Yeah.
who knows what would happen with it in today's world? But yeah.
Well, the was it 2013 or 2011? I don't remember. The remake that they did, or kind of the reboot, they did the tree rape scene, and it was even worse in my opinion. They had noises to it.
Oh gosh.
Was not a
that's right.
fan.
Yeah.
This one,
yeah.
I was like, oh, this is nothing now. But I
Yeah.
mean, at the time, 1981, this was a lot. It was bad.
Yep. So total kills are 4, basically the human to deadite transformation kills. They're kind of weird to try and track, but This isn't like a typical slasher film where the kills are obvious. And so that's how we did it this week on this one. Favorite character for me was probably Ash.
How could it be anyone else?
That's what I'm thinking too. Probably because we
him
want
and
to
those
get
eyebrows. Oh,
Plus, we want to get Bruce Campbell on the podcast one of these days, so it's
yes.
always going to be Ash, right?
Always.
Favorite kill for you?
I did really like, Scotty's hacking up his girlfriend.
Yeah,
But the best part, in my opinion, was that Ash is there holding the axe, being hesitant, and
Yeah.
Scotty's like, "No, we're doing this." He
Yep.
grabs it, he hacks her up like it's no big deal, and then the body's lying there, like all split apart,
Yep.
and it's twitching.
Yep.
And it was so creative because we know how they do shots like that. There's people under the floorboards, making
Right.
things wiggle. The actress's head was sticking out and she's sitting underneath just going. That's probably one of my favorites, honestly.
Right.
What about for you?
For me, it's the same scene. Yeah, that's the same one. And that was the thing that struck me too. Ash is standing there with the axe, just watching as, Scotty's kind of getting his ass kicked for a little bit and not stepping in with the axe. But yeah. So I think that's the same thing for me. Star grade for me, I give it 4.
Oh, I'm going to go 4 as well. We're 2 alike, Brian.
I know.
But yes, I give it a 4 because I will give Evil Dead 2 something different. The remake, the Army of Darkness, like I said, one of my favorites.
Right.
So it's hard. I think scaled to the rest of them, it has to be a 4.
Slasher survival tip for this week. When you hear a recording in an ancient language, don't hit play again just to see what happens. Not going to do it.
So true.
Not going to do it.
We do not read the Latin in this house.
No, we do not. We do not. So we don't have a final girl. We have a final boy. What score do you give him on a scale of 1 to 10?
10 out of 10, honestly. He survives.
He does.
Well, we know he does because they make more.
Right. There's more to go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
but also, yes, he doesn't handle things super well. He hesitates too much. But it's Bruce Campbell. It's Ashley, a man named Ashley. And he's like this skittish little shy boy in this one, and then goes on to become the hero in the rest.
Right.
I love it. I give him 10. What do you give him?
I give him a 10 too. I thought,
out
of everybody, he made the least amount of mistakes, I think, except, I don't know, when he had the chainsaw and had the opportunity to really do away, with Linda, probably should have done it, but I give him a 10. I think he did a nice job.
He gets there.
He does. He definitely does. Your scare preview coming up. But first, I want to talk about Jaunty Haunts, our good friend Courtney, into her second season of the Jaunty Haunts podcast. You got to check this out. This is so much fun to listen to. For 30 years, she kept a secret that she could see ghosts, and she's now telling her story. She always has some incredible guests on, incredible stories, and she's going to be joining us here this month when we do the movie Sleepy Hollow. As she's been living in New York. She's been to Sleepy Hollow a couple of times now and has some great stories, but definitely check out our friend Courtney and Jaunty Haunts. She comes out every week, every Monday, and you can check it out wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
The Scare Preview.
Scare preview time right now. And these are upcoming movies that we like to preview for you. And the one that I have chosen is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. I absolutely loved the first one. And they are bringing back Samara Weaving. Also, Sarah Michelle Gellar is in this one. Elijah Wood is in this one. It's got a great cast, directed by Met Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. Screenplay by Gary Busick, and it will be in theaters April 10th of next year. Ready or Not 2, here I come. I am very much looking forward to that. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the first one. So, yeah.
Me too.
definitely.
It was so creative.
Yep, totally.
I want to know where they go next.
Me
That'll
too.
be good.
Me too. So what are you excited about?
Well, speaking of Evil Dead, it looks like there's a new one coming out.
Yes.
Evil Dead Burn, expected July 24th, 2026. Nothing really has come out about the story yet. It's got kind of new people attached to it. Like I said, I didn't love Evil Dead Rise, but I thought it was creative still, and the makeup was really great. They do start to go a little too CGI for my taste, but I'm really hoping we can bring it back with a new one. I'm always up for some deadites, some creepy people, some bad decisions. I'm all in for it.
Yeah. Looking forward to that one as well. So, Shay Astor, researcher for the show, filling in for Michael Duran this week. Thank you for being here and hanging out and talking Evil Dead stuff with me.
Thanks for having me. I can't wait to be on again soon, hopefully.
Please subscribe to us. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Tell all your friends and family about Opening Kill. Don't forget, you can watch the video versions of this podcast on Spotify and YouTube. You can email us at openingkillpod@gmail.com if you have a movie suggestion or anything you want to say to us. Again, thank you to Shay. And Michael, hopefully, will be back with us next week, where we will tackle the movie Hellfest here on Opening Kill.
Opening Kill is produced by Mystic Cloud Productions and hosted by Brian O'Connor and Michael Duran. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And don't forget, you can watch the video versions on Spotify and YouTube. See you next time, if you survive the Opening Kill.